More people depend on animals for emotional support these days, and that's creating controversy within some neighborhoods, especially those with a homeowners association.
And tonight, News 4 investigator Chris Negus is in West County explaining why one dog owner is at odds with her neighborhood association.
Well, I got him a year ago in March.
After the death of her husband, Dorothy Hyatt felt lonely.
Go slow now, easy.
She says her therapist recommended a dog.
That's a good boy.
And that's when she found Blake and fell in love.
He's my best bud.
Blake is considered an emotional support animal.
He's trying to catch a bug.
He's also got a ton of energy.
No, babe.
Dorothy wants to build a fence so Blake can run and be contained. So she asked the H.O.A. at the villas at Lindbergh Place to build one.
Good boy.
For Hyatt, it did not go as planned.
Our indentures make very clear that no above ground fences are allowed.
Vicki Washington is on the board, which is now embroiled in a battle with Hyatt. But the board did not deny Hyatt's request completely, just partially. Despite the no fence rule, they agreed to an exception for Hyatt, but only to fence a portion of her backyard.
If my backyard was usable, I would have gone with that to start with.
Hyatt says her backyard is often muddy because of poor drainage, and in the winter months, it's even worse.
Initially, we prescribed an area, and she didn't like that. So we went back to her and proposed an alternative, enlarging the area in question, and she's rejected that.
Hyatt wants a fence that goes beyond her backyard. It would include much of her side lot, which would make it more visible from the street.
Go easy now.
She believes it's the most usable portion of her property.
That's a good boy.
It is discrimination for the board to deny her reasonable request for permission to install a fence at her own expense.
Jason Schmidt is Hyatt's attorney.
It would go up against the pre-existing fence.
A lawyer who's often on the other side of the fence when it comes to issues like this one. You represent HOAs in your business.
Yes, in my daily practice.
In this case, you're going against an HOA.
Yes.
Because you feel they're being unreasonable.
Absolutely.
But unreasonable depends on which attorney you're talking to. Stephen Davis represents Hyatt's HOA.
These are volunteer board members that are doing their best to do their job on behalf of their communities. So it's really unfortunate that it's come to this.
We've been really reasonable with Ms. Hyatt and attempted to be responsive to her concerns. So I'm not sure why we're not making more progress.
And now things are escalating. Hyatt filed a complaint with HUD. The first time it was dismissed. According to this document, based on the evidence during the investigation, HUD determined that no reasonable cause exists to believe a discriminatory housing practice has occurred. Hyatt has now filed a second complaint with HUD, this time adding evidence of her physical disability from a physician. There's been no determination.
She only wants her entire yard enclosed. And that is not going to work well for the HOA because we do have an obligation to other homeowners.
In Dorothy's mind, her yard equals her property. According to her lawyer, she deserves an exception.
As somebody who is disabled, she can't or should not be treated the same as any other owner within the association, so her request for a reasonable accommodation should be honored.
And when you talk about disability, do you mean emotional or physical?
In Dorothy's case, it's both.
And I have this nice area that does belong to me, so I thought it would, initially I thought it would kind of be a slam dunk, but it didn't turn out that way.
Do you guys plan to continue fighting this?
Well, right now, her concerns are being considered and reviewed by the Housing and Urban Development, so we have to wait until we get a response back from them to be in a position to evaluate options.
Easy does it.
The HOA has offered Hyatt an opportunity to build an underground fence. Now, Hyatt's attorney says that will work to keep Blake in, but it wouldn't keep other dogs out. The HOA says they have a leash requirement, so it shouldn't be an issue. Now, what do you think? Should Hyatt be allowed to build the fence she wants, or should the HOA be allowed to exercise its power and say no? Let me know on my KMOV Facebook page. Chris Negus, News 4 Investigates.